been in control of. Only one of them so far is a victory. Picks and bans for Game 3. We've already had this on blue side, so once more with feeling, but we have the benefit of remembering what was available and banned in Game 1.
Yeah, Kingzone actually sticking to the script. Of course, Gangplank, Sejuani, Callista were their bans, and then Galio, Zoe, and Khan. And sorry, I wrote Khan as
instead
the
of
final
Jace.
ban instead of Jace. Brilliant.
Gotta ban away that Khan. If only they could ban away Khan.
I guess that is in the mindset. Actually, no, that's Kha'Zix.
Oh.
So I just wrote Khan instead of Khan.
You got Khan on the mind.
I do a lot of abbreviating.
Well,
okay, well, it's going to be a little bit of a flip as the Scorpion's going to be banned away. Skarner not going to be seen on the Rift. He belongs with his kind.
And also, with Kuz in the lineup, a first pick Sejuani is a lot more realistic, so don't need to blue side ban the Sejuani as pressingly.
Yeah, Afreeca looking for the Zoe button. We'll see whether they find it. 7 seconds to go. Whether it is going to be something else. Maybe they've got an answer for BDD. Kuro was pretty damn good when it came to the Malzahar, and the Sejuani going to be banned on the red side.
You can see him trying a LeBlanc or a Kassadin if he really needs to. But the chances go up when it's not banned. First 2 rounds of the ban phase.
BDD's been playing a little bit of the Zoe recently in the solo queue, so could be an option. Kingzone thinking about their final ban here. Do they want to be first picking the Zoe?
That seems to be a definite maybe when you see the Rise ban on blue side. You
definitely maybe.
I don't want to talk about that movie. I want to talk about BC that come out on the side of Kingzone. Let's see what the final ban will be. Ezreal and Callista both left open and looming as a likely AD carrier matchup. And there will be the Kha'Zix ban. So, time to play with fire. Zoe's available.
Yeah, who's going to get it? BDD or Kuro? Kingzone thinking about the first pick, but Afreeca probably have a plan for the next 2. Could be a lot of really powerful options. Is Callista being considered as the first pick?
BDD likes to run the Azir into the Zoe, but that's been turned against him as recently as by Tempt a few days ago,
yeah.
Atlas. So.
And that was an incredible performance from Tempt
Kuro's Zoe was good, so there definitely is a cost to leaving it open if it wants to be snapped up, but now if you're Afreeca, you're thinking about the next levels, as Zoe is conspicuously on patch 8.3 left available.
Yeah, Varus being considered here by Kramer, of course, one of his most incredible picks, and played it in Game 1 to great effect. Saw that laning phase working out very, very well. Now do they lock in a bottom lane or something like that, or try and go for the Zoe pickup for Kuro?
Zoe, those are 2 big power picks you can consider here. The Gnar priority, or the Gangplank priority can always change, and both teams being very creative. The problem for Kingzone is that Afreeca can pick it at Kuro's pick and then double ban against it. So there is actually the potential for them to even set up a more favorable matchup for Zoe if Kingzone don't take it here. So now we're getting really tense.
And do we go with, you know, support Zoe coming out from, not support Zoe, like Zoe and support, but support and Zoe? Just to make sure that that can't happen? Or does BDD just have an answer?
Well, they're saying we want to run Talia into it, and they show that they are very understanding of what's going on here. So basically,
feels
BDD,
like table talk, you know?
This is what Kingzone have loved to do. They've been the best about mind games, so they hover a champion that works against their comp. We've been waiting to see the Jace for a while. Draws a gasp from the crowd. Here it is!
Oh, it's locked in. Okay, Khan.
There aren't many picks that make the crowd applaud before we've even got to the second ban phase.
He's sick of scaling, man. He's sick of it. Been playing too much of these Gangplanks and the Scion,
and honestly,
garbage.
They may have been in control for 2 games, but not having Khan on a champion that can punish early has been something that counted against them. So now Khan is on a punishing champion. However, if anyone can be a bastion of punishment and get through the laning phase, it is the Scion. I wonder what the build will have to be here. Will it have to be something like Play the Rune King into Lord Dominic's regard to try to punish through a Scion? You remember last year, the trickiest matchup that the Jace had to run through was the Poppy, which was seen as a counter pick.
Yeah.
And that was a lot about the early Last Whisper itemization from both Smeb and Khan in the matchup. So interesting to see the instant answer as Keen will be jumping onto the Scion.
Well, one person who won't be jumping around is going to be the Zac, who's going to be banned away by the Afreeca Freecs, focusing on the jungle. Jungle and support going to be what Kingzone are looking for, as mid lane jungle going to be the options here for Afreeca, unless Spirit wants to do something ridiculous and grab another champion and chuck that into his champion pool.
If you're Afreeca, you might want a last pick for jungle, because there's a lot of interesting stuff going on here with the draft. You could see Kingzone trying to hunt. The Nidalee could definitely come out from Cuz in this game just to focus on really punishing the mid game with a lot of power. Taliyah, Nidalee, and Jace certainly do rotate around the map very quickly. Braum is going to be banned away on the Afreeca side.
Well, I mean, I feel like Kingzone are setting themselves up for poke composition style here with a potential Nidalee Tahm Kench pickup here for a lot of protection that they could go for.
It's kind of what I expect them to go with at this point. Afreeca looking for mid lane and jungle. And yes, they will counterpick for jungle. You almost never hear that. But if they had gone for a tank jungler and then Nidalee ran into it and could just battle ward, I think the game kind of falls around. So I actually do like the fact that they are going for the mid lane with Zoe available.
Yeah.
They are not interested in running the Zoe. Going to go for a wave clear war with the Corki. See what they make here is they just hover an Aurelion Soul.
Just for the fun of it. Prey just confusing us for the moment, but I find it odd that the Corki came in instead of the Zoe. Certainly hasn't been feeling too bad, but I mean, I guess an example of counterpick into the matchup was the Taliyah that we saw very recently, and that's a Jax, so not going for the Nidalee style.
But actually, in some ways, it is the Nidalee style, because he can play a side lane well when the rest of the team is trying to siege in another lane. So while it's not as in your face, the Tahm Kench part of the equation was on the ball. Good job, Atlas. Problem solving your way through a draft. So question is, what does Spirit want to play? Because we know he has a jungle ocean. Not many people do, but Spirit is ready for his 13th unique champion if he wants to play something new. He sees the Jax, so basically everything is on the board at this point. He knows there's going to be a Jace to play around the top side. Waiting, waiting, waiting. Looks like it's going to end up being pretty standard. Just going to be the Jarvan for another initiation option. So it's scaling draft in the mid lane from the Corki. It's all about outnumbering here. A lot of rotational play going to happen from Kingzone as they start flipping around. You start wondering if we'll see a jungle Jace, but it's not ever 8 winners, so I don't think we will.
Yeah, I really like Afreeca's comp, though, for the pile-in style. You got the Headbutt Pulverize, you've got the Flag and Drag, and then you've got Keen to just layer a gigantic decimating smash over the top.
And then you got Kingzone who are saying we never ever want to fight as 5. What are you even talking about?
Yeah, what is even fighting with 5? We're just going to weave his way out and use the Devour from the Tahm Kench.
The problem is that the Jace is not puncturing through a simple lane. Sion can wave clear for days, does not die easily, giving him the Direst treatment or the Huni treatment. You remember the famous Jace versus Turgath LCK final matchup with Longzhu versus SKT last year is so hard to do because the damn man very rarely dies, and then he comes back to push the minions again when he's in his passive form. So actually being able to hit your timings against the ultra delay of a Sion, not going to be that simple for Khan.
Yeah, Keen has shown that he can play these tanky matchups as well. Even when it was on things like the Gangplank, his Grasp of the Undying Gangplank was actually quite impressive that we saw. So Keen, we talk about him as the young gun, sort of being a newer version of Khan, something like that, trying to play a similar style, but has been certainly able to get those tanks working out for him. But Prey had a brilliant performance on the Kalista. It's now all up to this. Our top 2 teams, by the looks of things, Kingzone versus Afreeca, deciding game number 3. Let's hit the rift. Pretty even representation between the two as well in the stadium, sort of letting us know where they're sitting on the standings. To be honest, both of them very, very high. Now going to start off with a pause. Sepia mode to begin the game.
Wait for Joel to jump on Discord and tell if it's the fatal audio issue that always seems to plague our top teams here on the Kingzone side. So presuming it's something there.
Yeah, looks like Gorilla having a few issues.
We need a bit of time to ruminate further.
Yeah, we did.
Had 2 pretty slow games, but hopefully heating up to a more decisive game 3.
Looking forward to Afreeca actually trying to make some moves in the early game as well, Papa, because they've been rolling over a little bit to start both of these games off, and that hasn't been the Afreeca style that we've gotten used to. It's been a fair bit of aggression coming out from these guys.
Getting the confirmation that Kingzone is having some mic issues, so
oh dear.
Definitely seems to be audio issue related, so we'll wait to roll. The issue solved quickly, apparently.
Yeah, man, we got through this one. Didn't give it
We've
any
had some
time.
experience,
Didn't
so.
give it any time to move over to anybody else's. That is a huge dragon.
One of your famous commentary lines from the oceanic professional scene.
Didn't even mean it like
I know.
that. Oh, dear.
It's a very long dragon as well, alpaca-esque, with that very long alpaca that we saw.
This is what happens, you know. I'm in the realm of deft, so the dragons get longer. Okay, Spirit. Okay, that is a lot of volleys being threaded on top of him, but he was going to survive. Starting off your jungle at 2/3 health ain't a great feeling, though.
Back away. Kingzone desperately want to play on the front foot. If you remember way back to their 2017 Jace games, it was always about vertical jungling. They wanted to control the top side because then there was no threat of Spirit coming through the jungle, and the Jace can just play in the face of Sion the entire time. Even Sion's skill order, be interesting to see is, I thought in this game we would see Keen jump onto the Comet, because Comet in a lane against someone who has much lower base stats does do respectful damage if you max E, but he's actually going to be going for a Glacial Augment, which tells you that he has better gank assists, and he already had great gank assist, which suggests that I think Jarvan is going to have to make a couple of visits topside to try to punish Khan. If they can get even the flash down from the Jace, it's a big win for the Sion when it comes to keeping his turret alive and delaying the inevitable push of the Jace.
Not going to be one of those very early ganks, though, from Spirit, who did start on his blue buff and has headed to Wolves as well, so will at least be level 3 relatively soon. Not going to go for any cheesy level 2 ganks that we've seen Jarvans pull off very effectively. Kingzone are in a lot of control on the bottom side. The catfish trying to lick the cow, but doesn't actually make the connection.
I thought you were going to talk about a nursery rhyme there.
Which one?
I don't know. The catfish licks the cow. That's the side
I haven't heard that one. Is that one that you had growing up in Perth?
That's a Perth.
It's a Western Australia thing, not a
didn't make it to the east?
No, I didn't make it to the east, that one.
Kaz seen in a zombie ward, so they're aware of his pathing. Kaz has, again, been really good at pathing around Jace comps. It feels like old Longzhu all over, as BD doesn't get hit by the EQ.
But Spirit does get smashed with another combo from BDD. It seems like a rite of passage for the beginning of the game for Spirit now. One more in a row.
Kaz actually going to be able to get a bonus jungle camp in the top side. So already, the attempt at vertical jungling seems pretty successful.
Yeah, Kaz actually hanging around here just to try and defend. Spirit, of course, had to go back to base, so knowing that they can now get all of this control only makes it worse.
Man, doubling the CS of Sion's pretty hard to do, but Keen having to deal with the world-famous Jace coming through from Khan. Biscuiteer into Corrupting Potion. And of course, you'd have to think Flat Armor in the Resolve tree.
Yeah.
Whatever gets you through it, that's all you can do against Khan's Jace.
Impressed that Keen's not dead yet, you know, to be honest. When anyone's facing Khan's Jace, if there's no 1 in the middle number of their score, feeling pretty okay.
Spirit's entry to the bot lane is announced by the Sentinel coming through from the Callista.
Kaz wanted to go back and just try and grab some items just in case the dueling with Spirit does need to come in. Tracker's Knife and some booties. Going to be hanging out there, but Spirit didn't get the ideal back as threaded volley. Finds Kuro a couple of times, but he's able to put the fancy shoes on for the seismic shove. Goodness me.
Yeah, BD's laning on the Talia has been delightful. Caught a bit up, but I think he'll be fine.
Yeah, he's going to be able to hop on that stone board. Get his way out of there next to the wall.
First taking the teleport to be able to follow the Weaver's Wall wherever possible. Otherwise, summon is pretty standard across the board. Unsealed Spellbook on Tucson, no surprise.
Yeah, loves that.
Okay, all in
Delicious
here.
cow, yeah. Gorilla really wanted steak for dinner as Tucson has to flash his way out. Oh, no Pierce is going to land. So Prey's not going to be able to find that one as Khan completely out of mana.
Spirit's here.
In comes Spirit. Yeah, Flash is going to have to be used if he's going to get out. Flag and Drag immediately Flash, but no knock-up from Spirit. One more auto, that's going to get first blood. And Afreeca off to a great start.
Yeah, the gap closes enough. They pick up the kill top side. Cuz had gone to the bottom side, so wasn't there for a counter gank. Good news for Keen. He keeps his Flash up, and also the Jace is halted for the moment. So that will relieve some of the pressure for the top lane.
Yeah, Prey and Gorilla are going to move over and help grab this Ocean Drake, though, so a bit of extra regen, which looks like Cuz may actually need. Gorilla's going to be the one to tank up the Ocean Drake. Okay, now Kingzone looking to try and reset. Double Doran's Blade, double Longsword for Khan. Absolutely no potions. Wants to go full kill you mode onto Keen.
If there was Comet, maybe you'd have to be a little bit more respectful in terms of regen. It's going to actually be Emax, even though they're going for Glacial Augment. We saw Qmax in the previous game. We saw that was from Khan on the Glacial Augment Scion, game 1.
Damn, BDD is reading Kuro like a book right now. Holds onto the shove. As all the flash afterwards doesn't get the last one. Auto attack in. And BDD gets a solo kill in the mid lane. Meanwhile, we got a gank again on the top side of the map. King grabs it with a decimating smash as we check out BDD's happy face while his top laner dies.
Yeah, the sadness would have been parallel, though, onto Khan, who is against the Glacial Augment Scion. Should expect to get plenty of repeat attention. The Talia will be better at spreading the misery to other lanes because of the global. But top lane, will you ever be able to outpace the tankiness of Keen when there's already going to be so much armor on him with 2 kill involvements in the first 7 minutes?
Yep, he's a lumberjack and he's okay, Pop Smithy. So here we are. We're going to check it out one more time.
He hit the ult, so only just was Khan able to channel the hammer hit. If he wasn't able to do that, would have just died even earlier. The kill was always guaranteed as they're trying to invade onto Spirit.
I guess the passive proc. Level 6 has been hit, but Spirit actually looking to try and answer back. Zombie ward there in the brush as the Afreeca Freecs are going to turn this one around. There's the stun, but Flag and Drag gets Spirit out of the way, and Tucson immediately going to get exhausted. He's not level 6 yet, so BDD grabs his second. 500 gold now in the lead for Kingzone. They were organically winning most of these lanes without jungle help, but now Spirits have to be topside for so long that the mid lane is huge for Kingzone.
Yeah, BD is massive, and his seismic shove accuracy has been flawless so far in this game. Seeing the engage, ult available.
Yeah, we've got the Grey Health being eaten up, though. Spirit just takes so much damn damage from Cuz. Yeah, you're making the right noises, Papa Smithy. That's a big problem as Khan. He's going to turn up and try and grab himself a red buff. He gets impatient and he's going to get the heck out of there. Khan just trying to whack this Scion with a hammer. BDD's going to make his way up. Weaver's Wall is going to come in potentially. Oh, this is just
Scion
so
trades
silly.
is so funny.
I know.
Well, that was a really big misread from Spirit. Thought he was way stronger than he was, and Cuz was level 6, could just turn around. And the auto cancel's ready to go. It powers down the enemy jungler. It's a good news story in the top, but everywhere else on the map, the problem is spreading for the side of Afreeca. You might be able to hold off the top lane. You think, okay, but Scion has teleport, he can roam. Jace is going to build long swords till the cows come home and split push anyway. So actually being able to turn the Scion's lead into anything other than a great late game answer in a team fight is something tricky for Afreeca to set up.
Yeah. Looking more and more worrying everywhere else other than this top lane, which is not what we're normally talking about when it comes to Kingzone. Normally it's Khan just doing ridiculous things to his opponent.
We've definitely seen games where Khan hasn't run away with the laning phase and gotten 10 solo kills. But
oh, yeah.
The thing about those games is
they haven't been Jace.
Even on the Jace, we've seen it, right? But what Longzhu at the time were able to do was just to play around pressure. They're the sort of team that is so good at understanding that whatever happens in the top lane, Khan will be pushing, therefore, do this in the mid, do this in the bot lane. Win everywhere else so big that the enemy top laner has to react, and then Khan gets to split push anyway. So, they've done so much already. Dive set up for here. Khan will always be able to push. The rest of the lanes are in a great spot. So Khan being 0-2 is not a big thing to talk about.
Well, another stun, but Spirit once again able to get out with the Flag and Drag. You saw the package available for Kuro was looking for top lane, which is why Cuz didn't pull the trigger on any sort of gank onto Keen. Okay, once again hanging around here just because that blue buff is available. He does have the opportunity to get something working. Okay, they're all up here.
Leah's here as well, though, and has a lot of power, as we know. Nice counter rotation. Didn't even have to use Weaver's Wall that time. Didn't have it available, but nice little rat map roam coming through from BDD.
Yep. Gorilla and Prey continuing just to do their best to bully on the bottom side. They got first rotation as well with the Abyssal Voyage, so makes sense for them to push a wave and then cheat out of lane and threaten the outnumbering. Yep.
Tucson laning with the teleport is something that could be attacked as well. Have no exhaust or ignite for any sort of all-in.
Very impressed with what Kramer's been able to do here. Stay even in farm when a lot of this advantage had been going over to King Zone. Prey and Gorilla laning very, very well and very aggressively. It's only 6 CS behind with a wave shoving forward.
I think this is what you should look to do at minimum against King Zone because you never respect the jungler being bot lane. You can get a little bit more greedy for farm against King Zone than you can against other teams in the bot lane specifically. Kaz is just hunting for Spirit.
Yep, Spirit's going to get sandwiched here as Gorilla actually flash tongue lashes and doesn't get anything. A little bit unfortunate. So no slowdown, and King Zone are just going to back away.
Jace backing. See if it is going to be the Blade the Ruin King he traditionally goes against tanks. With double longsword, it could be anything. Yeah, will be Blade once again from the Jace.
Yep. Actually liked it a lot in a lot of matchups, actually. Not just the tanks.
I think the second item is going to be by far the most interesting here.
Yeah.
How early do you start stacking armor penetration, like the Lord Dominic's Regard? There's going to be 3 people it's going to be fairly effective on. This gets replaced by another control one instantly.
Yep.
Setting up for a potential turret dive in the bot side.
Oh, the most boring of dragons to start off this game is Ocean into Cloud. Doesn't make you feel great, as BDD's going to get cataclysmed. Uses his stopwatch and still has the flash, remember?
He doesn't want to flash, just to be clear.
I certainly didn't, but stopwatch was enough.
Gorilla and Prey used the Abyssal Voyage, so that was enough to draw them away. So I think the big goal there was to keep the flash under any circumstance. Continue to invade after the short roam towards the mid lane.
Cuz does a lot of work.
King Zone playing around their strength. Sion doesn't have teleport, can't roam. There's lifesteal on the Jace. Okay, an attempted engage.
Yeah, Kramer not going to find the ultimate though, as Tushin does have his ult running, but it's not going to be enough. The Jax grabs the dragon, gets out, cuz what is this? Secret Agent Jax under fire from everyone and then just survives.
Yeah, Houdini-esque that he actually stayed on the Drake long enough to get a second one and was able to get away, just provoking his flash and a heal. Nice little escape there from Cuz. Khan in the top side. Look, he's not having the happiest time, but it's not like Sion can deny him from farm when he gets lifesteal going, so let's return to the minion wave and has his flash for the next time Jarvan comes for a visit.
Who is certainly up there towards the top side. Bottom side of the map now going to be free to get all the work done as King Zone still putting the pressure, but another minion wave crashing forward. And yes, they've had pressure on the turret, but it isn't translating into any sort of notable lead when it comes to farm.
I'm struck by the fact that, you know, we mentioned that Kuz on a different day could have won MVP for Game 1, played really well. He's played so sparingly this season. He's played 2 games before today. But when he comes in, his ability to be on the pace of the game, as he was as a rookie, being a Royal Roader in the summer season, winning the championship in his first ever season as a player, never even played in the lower tier of the Challenger Series or anything like that. The fact that
he's played every single game in the summer season as well.
The fact that he's not behind the play, the fact that he reads the play this well is such an important thing for King Zone, because Peanut can be up and down. You can be a streaky player even in his best days. To have someone this stable, really out of nowhere, like, it's almost insane how consistent Cuz is in spite of all the reasons that he should be up and down. You think of Blossom's transition to competitive play. May have had higher highs than Cuz, but Cuz has never had quite those lows. It's just impressive that he's this reliable when he goes uncalled upon for, you know, months of game time.
Okay, Khan going to jump in. Keen taking a fair bit of damage. Shock Blast being empowered and shoved into his face is difficult to deal with, but not when you've got so much armor.
Cuz getting the call that his mid laner is backing, so being very respectful. Oh.
Shelly just going to take a bit of an adventure over the river.
Oh, he's trying to get to the back, but it might reset. It doesn't quite. Okay, Cuz just about to do it.
Yeah, lucky.
Also, pulling it that far made it almost impossible for Spirit to EQ over and steal it.
He would have EQ'd over and thought, why didn't it make a noise when it died?
If you think about that, his mid laner was recalling, his vision was only in the river, so pulling it further in the river without it resetting was the safest way for him to pick up the Rift Herald with no chance of a contest if a ward was in the back of the pit. So while it looked a bit comical and while it was close, the timing of when he actually went for the pullout was very smart there from Cuz.
Yeah, I thought it was intelligent. Spirit going to continue trying to get what he can, but he's falling behind so far. There's a great many camps, about 10 camps behind. We're going to be counting that one up.
Top and bot lane was supposed to be his paradise when it came to places to gank, but he's been forced to gank mid one more time than he would like. 0 was the times he wanted to gank Corky lane.
Yeah, and it is going to be Rift Herald showing up here in the mid lane. Going to get that charge in as Cuz just layering the damage down onto Spirit. Not enough of a shield to keep him okay, as Keen's going to have to turn up. A lot of space now. Khan to do what he wants. He's actually getting back from base now. Almost has teleport available, but it is going to be a 4v5 as Kuro almost just going to straight up die and make it a 4v4.
Accelerated is BDD again. Much better in this game so far. No critical mistakes, but very on point. His seismic shoves are pretty next level when it comes to predictions.
His Talia is just a joy to watch. You're absolutely right, Papa.
Needed games like this after, again, a couple of high-profile poor games.
Yeah.
Khan has to play the Ruined King, so first good news story. And a zone bot lane away from actually making it to the turret. Couldn't get the mid lane, but this one might come down right now.
He can just set up a wall if he wants to as well. Threaded volley going to fly forward, all too easy. Navigation of this early game has been pretty impressive. Kingzone DragonX. They're not finished here on the bottom side either. Pings go out onto Spirit's location. They know exactly what's going on. They'll shove an extra wave, head back to base. We'll see how close to the Runan's Hurricane Prey is.
And if you had told us that this was summer 2017 and it was Longzhu Gaming, you would have believed it. Very, very Longzhu-esque in how this game has been pulled off. The Jace may have been ganked a couple of times, but filling his role, you can't deny farm away from Khan. He drew a lot of resources from the enemy jungler. They won every other part of the map very cleanly. Bot lane turret the first to go down, as was always their focus in the past. And others continue to play the map, and if they play so intelligently, you talked already about how Spirit's, falling behind in terms of camps. Camps are being stolen, he can't duel the enemy jungler. Everything's going from better to better for Kingzone. See Cuz so confident to just enter there, but doesn't actually use the smite to steal away the ball.
Cute play though out of Gorilla and Cuz, just using the Devour to get him over the walls. Leap Strike is there as well, so a bit of a Ninja Jacks this game. Bouncing around everywhere. Teleport to come in behind, though, as BDD flashes his way to safety. A teleport there just to back him up, as well as the Weaver's Wall gets Kuro completely out. Has to use the Valkyrie if he wants to get any work done. As there's the knockups. Another double seismic shove in from BDD, who's playing like an absolute god. But Tucson goes in with the headbutt pulve, and there's some low health bars. It's just BDD with a full one here for Kingzone. And there is poke back and forth. No one's dead, but the shove seems to be going towards Afreeca.
I'm going to stay around here because BDD is full health. Khan can also push up. Sion missed his ultimate, wasn't able to actually hold anyone, and was on the wrong side of the Weaver's Wall. Pretty comical on the side of Keen. Teamfight Sion not always the easiest. We'll get the replay here. This looked like finally Kingzone were going to be held accountable for how aggressive they've been, but you'll notice actually flashed over the Sion ultimate to get out of being hit by it, and then Kuro can't do damage because the Weaver's Wall keeps him isolated, doesn't want to flash over. Always the conundrum when you're facing against a Talia. So while a lot of people fell low, the Sion ult connects, the Weaver's Wall doesn't separate out a threat, and 2 or 3 kills for Afreeca are denied by just the skin of their teeth for Kingzone.
It was very nicely done though by BDD, getting himself out of all of the trouble. Prey again with an escaping act, much like what he's able to demonstrate on his Ezreal each time as well. But in the end, very, very even. It's been a bit of a story of this series, apart from the fact that Kingzone have largely had control when the game isn't really doing very well.
It's going to be the Black Cleaver rolled back for Khan. Bit of movement speed and also the armor penetration.
Don't mind that before grabbing the Lord Dominance.
Yeah. Gorilla on a solo mission to shut down the enemy, but doesn't find anything this time. Afreeca really needed that last fight to stick because we've already mentioned a couple of times how they've been run around the map again and again, so that was supposed to be the payoff, and no payoff this time.
Yeah. The map is only getting darker and scarier as these turrets are falling down. Mid-outer is going to go, but Spirit comes in with the Cataclysm, half health now, as well as Cuz, he's in trouble, surrounded by 5 members of Afreeca, and Gorilla's actually going to join in. Cuz actually lasting a very long time with his Grandmaster's might, but it is going to be the Toadfish. Locked up first. Afreeca grab one back just to even out this kill score.
Another team fight Weaver's Wall this time. Does condemn the Toadfish, but no one else will fall from the side of Kingzone. Only a single kill, but it might stop the Dragon stacking. Afreeca obviously not going to be too elated at picking up a 3rd spawn Ocean Drake, but it's at least something for what was a much better run. That was some good drifting from Keen to get the initial CC.
Why is Afreeca's Dragon so much smaller than Kingzone's?
I mean...
Oh, there we are. We biggerized it. Biggerized it?
It's the 5th game of the night, Atlas.
Enlarged. I think enlarged is probably a word. Atlas, you could probably use that one instead. Okay, buddy. Are you going to come back, just try and get some damage to stick onto Keen? It's probably not going to happen. Doesn't even have any magic resist yet. He's just silent.
He would prefer not to build any if possible and just build for lane entirely. But invariably, he will have to build in some magic resist.
Carl's grabbing a Rift Scuttler here just to set up for this Baron, which has spawned about a minute ago. Crow looking for that rapid fire cannon for item spike number 2. Speaking of that, BDD has hit it with the Leandro's Torment already completed. Talia is feeling fantastic, and Prey has to be close to his Renan's Hurricane. Next back should probably be the pickup of that one. Kramer has been slowly but surely setting himself up this game. Wits End almost done. He's actually ahead in farm by 10. When the game is this even, despite the global gold going over to Kingzone, must be able to keep up, as Wits End is so much cheaper.
Largely about the roams as well, as Kingzone have been first to dart out of lane to try to assist in other lanes, so giving up a couple of minions here or there does start to add up. Looking towards the Hurricane as Prey.
Cuz actually going for the full tank jacks this time. Haven't seen it so far today.
Someone needs to be a tank. I'm a big fan of this. You know, we criticized, I believe, Blank on the Jax for going for a slow Trinity Force when behind and his team had high damage. He's got a Jace top, so he's going to try to assist Gorilla when it comes to being some sort of a front line when the inevitable collapse happens from the side of Afreeca.
Yep, cute little lane ward, just to show exactly what Kingzone's bottom lane are doing. They are towards the top side as Afreeca Freecs with 4 members moving up there. Keen actually making a bit of a roam over. It's Gorilla. He's going to get engaged on. It's a big cataclysm, but Prey can just dance out of it with the martial poise. Okay, Tucson, he's in trouble. Spirit's going to go down first, though, as the threaded volleys are really starting to hurt from BDD. Prey has to try and get in range of this cow, but can't actually get there for the rend. So at least Tucson is going to survive, but Khan, he's split pushing this whole time. Kingzone just seemed too strong right now.
Good read by Kingzone to stay aggressive. They knew that Freaker couldn't fight front to back when Sion was out of position. Teleports start to come through. They turn onto the Baron. No smite here, of course.
We got Ren and Smite, yeah, exactly available for Kingzone. They should be able to lock this one down if they commit to it, but Keen just trying to be a nuisance. Khan, he's losing a whole bunch of his health bar, but they've committed, and BDD is enough to deter Afreeca from going anywhere near the pit.
Yeah, nothing they could do. Kramer on the backside tried to kill Khan, but he could just flash away after taking the Chain of Corruption, 1 round of ultimates. So Jarvan being the first one to go down was heavily consequential in this game, and bad news, Khan can go to a side lane. He may not have flash, he does have a Baron buff. Watch the replay. You hear the Sion ultimate comes through as, oh, let's hold on here for a second. We'll go back to it though. Trying to give you a bit more time to think about it. Weaver's Wall in combat again coming through from BDD. These are the most team-splitting ultimates we've seen outside of a turret for the longest time. Does get in the Jarvan. From the Jarvan, they are trusting in the Smite and Ren combination. Sion ulted early, which usually causes pandemonium, but they knew he would be out of position. There was no way for him to drift in and actually fight front to back. He was either going to be out of position or not in the fight at all. They end up with the Baron. Jace goes back down to bot lane. Unless they gank the Jace and kill him, not a lot of good decisions left for the side of Afreeca.
Yeah, it's getting real tough. And Khan is going for that armor shred build as well. Now with the Black Cleaver, has some Merc Treads as well, just to make sure that he's not going to get CC'd for too long. But if Lord Dominic's comes in, I just don't think that Keen's even going to be able to sit in that lane with him.
He'll be able to sit there for a while, but you're right.
Yeah. Just
eventually, the bad news will be cemented onto the turret.
The 3.5-minute 1v1. The dream. It's because Counter-Strike just going to stop any of these autos from coming in. BDD is going to say, no, Afreeca, you're not actually allowed to move anywhere near me. Decimating Smash going to lock off BDD and Cuz.
And
Actually,
BDD
Cuz on the wrong side.
Yeah, of the wall for once.
Okay, Prey grabs the Bramble back with the Rend. Afreeca gonna have to get out of here. Vision is getting bought back by the Afreeca Freecs, but it's not going to save this top inner turret. It's going down so incredibly fast. Booster gets in there with the headbutt pole, but there's the Fate's Call. Prey looking to consider turning this one around, but no minions under this turret, and they don't want to bite off more than they can chew.
Jason Scion in the mid lane. Jace trying his best to ignore the Scion, which are mixed results.
Yep. It's the 1v1 of Destiny that we were talking about, guys.
I want to compliment the build from Kaz. He's gone for the very early adaptive helm against all this magic damage on hit, and also the Corki doing largely magic damage. Means that he can ignore the flat penetration from the Wits End and Corki's early damage before Infinity Edge. Think about the fact that if he hits 40% CDR, he's working towards a pretty CDR heavy build, he's either completely dodging attacks or getting a lot of reduction through the adaptive helm. So his effective tankiness against specifically Corki and Varus, which is all of the damage on the side of Afreeca, is super high because he's invulnerable, I believe at 40% CDR around 30% of the time, and then taking reduced damage the rest of the time.
Yeah, I love it against Corki. Just absolutely brilliant. On Jax. Especially, I'd actually never thought of it that way, Papa. So
I always look for uptime when they buff the cooldown quite considerably of the Counter-Strike, because it gets higher and higher. The moment you're hitting 30% untargetability, you're pretty happy about that.
Yeah. Approaching that dream 40% mark. Hasn't had a lot of money this game, but still sitting on 102, 75% on that kill contribution. Ain't bad at all.
It's a pushing build from BDD, going for the Death Cap next. Pretty low magic resist on the enemy team, so not a bad time to go for Death Cap.
Yeah, I don't mind it. A little bit snowballed, and when there's Jace and Callista, you're going to get punished for building any magic resist, so you may as well double down as BDD.
It's going to be a fifth Drake of the game spawning before Elder.
So many clouds and oceans.
I feel like we just had a lot of Drakes spawn today.
Yeah.
We've been hitting a lot of 5 stacks. People are taking the first one pretty early. I think it was 5 minutes in this game. The first Drake was picked up as a trade for the ganks and top side onto Khan.
Very early Rift Herald as well. In fact, Cuz has just been ripping through these objectives. Right? Lord Dominic's Regard actually completed as item number 3.
Well, he wants to impersonate someone that can kill a Scion, so...
I feel like it's the first time that we've seen him pick up something that isn't Guardian Angel as third item.
Yes, it's because, despite the 7,000 gold lead, Lord Dominic's Regard probably going to be more value, because the threat onto him is pretty low. Unless Jax dies early in a fight, it's going to be quite difficult for Corki and Varus to actually push damage to the back line, so makes a lot of sense for him to just try to rend. And if you think about how a team fight will play realistically, Jarvan ults the Callista, he has to skip forward and backwards, and then Scion just kind of stands in front of him and tries to slow him down for as long as possible. So pushing damage onto the back line when you've got Scion, Jax, and Scion, Jarvan, and Alistair on the enemy team is unlikely. Is a lot of damage here.
Yeah, that was very lucky from Spirit. Gets the flag and drag off. Always a little bit amusing when you can get knocked up, knocked back, but it doesn't matter. If your lance goes anywhere near that standard, you're going to be able to get away, and he does so.
Does Khan do damage to Keen? Still hard to tell.
Sort of. Does have to use the flash, though, to get out of the way. Khan immediately back in there with the damage. Does the rest of Kingzone turn up? Looks like it will be zombie mode for this Scion as the Weaver's Wall's there, but no double flash comes in from Afreeca. They save their 2 tanky members. Spirit is, of course, still there. He's got a few tank items on him, but Afreeca Freecs, it's going to be real difficult. They just grab themselves a cute little blue buff, and Khan going to be able to throw shock blasts over this wall.
All the threat is gone now. Both tanks have been shredded, so Warmark starts to at least allow Keen to get healthier, but only the Jarvan ultimate for any sort of engage. Chain of Corruption on cooldown. They will take that objective. 3 lanes pushing at the same time. Afreeca Freecs being ripped apart across the map in just the most standard Longzhu gaming now, Kingzone DragonX style.
It's the suffocation we've been getting used to here from Kingzone. Feels like Afreeca haven't had very many choices, despite the fact that Spirit had the right idea, you know, punish Khan from shoving out that top lane over and over. A couple of deaths now, but he's ahead by about 2,000 gold.
It's kind of a false choice, though, because Jace will walk up, will be gankable, dies, But think about what that got them this game. It got them nothing, because the Scion isn't going to get kill pressure onto the Jace. You're not going to get Camille fed against Jace. You're going to get Scion fed. He doesn't die. The turret may live a bit longer, but if you're top side forever, then the bot side is going to be at the whims of Taliyah and the other globals and engage Kingzone had. So while it was successful ganks topside, it could never realistically translate into victories either in the 1v1 or in the 4v4. And unfortunately for Afreeca, Kingzone were able to nail their own ganks on the other side, and it just feels like all in all, Kingzone are way ahead.
Yeah, you can see Jace actually going to beg the question here of, do you want to keep your base or do you want to defend the Baron? As Kingzone, Weaver's Wall's going to be set up, only one entrance available from Spirit, who's well and truly away from this Baron. They'll have Ren, they'll have Smite. There is no way that this one's going to be taken. Afreeca trying to go for some sort of fight as in goes Cuz. Massive stun with the counter-strike, but there's the huge knock-up into Fate's Call. Just gigantic damage. Prey eviscerates Spirit, and the red health bars are disappearing. The zombie Scion is not going to get anything done, and Kuro, it's him against
Kill your old teammate.
Exactly. Prey and Gorilla looking to try and get after him, but Gorilla says no. We will allow you to survive just this once.
And they want to end the game. They have so much damage to structures, they could just do it now.
Yep. Khan just going to tank this one up. They've got, you're exactly right. Even BDD does considerable damage given the fact that he's got that death cap for all of that AP.
Kingzone. He's alive. He was able to get out, so they weren't able to harass him out, so maybe the game will extend. If Corki was stopped from recoil, and this could have been the game end, you're going to get 2 inhibitors, though.
Yeah, this base is destroyed. 3-item Corki, though. Kuro does manage to make it to his big item spike. But is that really worth talking about when you got 2 inhibitors getting taken down? We've got a Void Staff that will be completed by BDD when he goes home. It's just not a lot of options here for Afreeca.
The timer being only 30 minutes and Corki recoiling was enough to stop the game ending. But the dregs of the base, only a single inhibitor and an inhibitor turret left for them to defend outside their Nexus. Kingzone roll up, and BDD has just the most items you could ever ask for.
He's just feeling pretty dang good.
For once, the elation that the Taliyah feels every time she's rock surfing is definitely genuine. She's stoked right now.
Well, Kingzone just going to set up all of this vision on the bottom side. The one remaining inhibitor that they need to take is going to be pretty elementary. Getting rid of that. They'll probably be able to just march their way into the base as well, use shock blasts, use the threaded volley from range, and Afreeca will have to commit to a fight if they want to make something happen, but with the item disadvantage that they have with a 13,000 gold lead for Kingzone, shouldn't be too hard. They might be able to get Cuz here, though. His Counter-Strike is pretty dumb against this composition. Keen will have to get himself out of there, and does so. Chains of Corruption going to deter Kingzone from chasing any further. But Prey, he's got a Bloodthirster and a Blade of the Ruin King. He's got so much lifesteal, just got to find anything. Oh my god, what? Is that burst damage, Callista?
Felt like it, Atlas. They're going to try and push in the last minion wave as top lane is pushing. Corki spent all his time there. There's the threat. There's the Weaver's Wall. It's too easy.
Yeah, no option here for Afreeca. Even that Shock Blast just saying, Kramer, you can't stand anywhere near here. Super Minion's going to be moving on up with massive attack speed thanks to the Baron buff, and Kingzone making their last approach to get this reverse sweep in the best of 3. We're expecting this to be a hype series, but this time Kingzone really have had control the entire game. Huge seismic shove again as the last team fight's going to break out. Keen in trouble, gets knocked up by Gorilla, who's probably going to die. No, actually, it's going to be Cuz falling down. The double kill comes in. Another shove for huge damage for BDD. Khan trying to get aggressive, but Tucson, there's no damage available from the cow. Prey gets exhausted, but he's going to wait for that to wear off, and Kuro will be in trouble. Kingzone, 1 Nexus turret remains. They're going to come back from a Game 1 loss. It's going to be a 2-1 over the Afreeca Freecs as Kingzone bounce back.
Welcome back, Kingzone DragonX. It's been a couple of weeks before we've seen the top lane power pick, but no more Gangplank in Gnar, no Scion. It's all about the Jace in game number 3. Who wasn't the carrying champion, but Jace, the effectiveness, the fact that they could play their map style allowed the rest of the team with so much of the impact onto the top lane, so much of the impact in terms of ganking, so much of Spirit's time topside. it could never be translated into a lead because Sion could just live longer against the Jace. Unfortunately, BDD unlocked the map in a way that was so impressive. As a counterpoint to how much he struggled on Orianna, he decided this game. This was all about BDD dominating teamfights. Maybe the best teamfight Taliyah play I have ever seen. The Weaver's walls in the teamfight, second to none. Also behind the objectives, and we always know that his W is always going to be basically a targeted ability. So great stuff from BDD and Kingzone DragonX, and also a reminder to their fans that when they adjust their drafting priorities just a little bit, they can still be that team that strikes fear into the hearts of every team around the world.
Yeah, and it's vintage Longzhu as well, with Cuz coming in to get back-to-back victories. As Sejuani was fantastic in game number 2. Game number 3, the Jax looked completely unkillable, baiting Afreeca into that last fight, getting a whole lot of cooldowns out. There were no chains of corruption when they were breaking down the Nexus turrets.
You wouldn't have thought of full tank Jax against the Afreeca Special, because how many games have they run triple Trinity Force or double 80 carry? They love these quirky comps, but yet with Counter-Strike into the Adaptive Helm, they just couldn't do damage to the Jax, who was occupying space while Jace and friends were taking down the front line. Congratulations to Kingzone DragonX. It was hard fought. This was a longer series than expected. They will go back and ruminate on the fact that for 3 games they were ahead, and only 2 of them were they able to pick up the victory, but just adjust the picks. Feels like the full tank top laners, the scaling top laners, aren't as reliable for them. But when they got the carry going, they know what to do.
Yeah, Khan looked dang comfortable on the Jace despite the 2 deaths, was still able to bully Keen around, and this means that now Kingzone DragonX in sole possession of that top spot. KT will be able to at least make it up match score-wise, with the possibility of getting to 8 wins tomorrow. But yeah, BDD had a pretty damn good game on the Taliyah.
Outstanding. Great to see from him. A nice bounce back from some ordinary performances and ordinary decisions even in game number 2. His Taliyah, blast from the past. This was basically Longzhu gaming again with Cuz in the lineup. Brings a different flavor than Peanut, who was decent in the first game. But Cuz in his 4 games has looked very good, short of a shaky Nidalee performance. And who else but BDD to pick up the MVP?
Yeah, massive performance. 400 points now, joining everyone else that feels like they're all just on 400 points. It's a large amount. There's 91% kill contribution as well on the Taliyah. It's difficult to do sometimes, to be honest, because you're skirmishing a lot with compositions that revolve around her, but this is his first solo kill to get the whole thing rolling.
Yeah, just a great game from BD, walking up, knowing his ranges, knowing his damage output. Had the heal left open to go for the turret dive, nice and easy. And then honestly, it could just be a Weaver's Wall highlight. Every time he used the Weaver's Wall, something good happened for Kingzone. I love this moment also, holding on to his flash. Big balls from BDD that time. It was all about the rocks and the rest of the fights, throwing them left, right, and center. Keen looking a bit silly, but Kuro effectively was stunned for 5 seconds in this fight because he's walking around his gyrocopter thinking, well, I would love to do some damage, guys.
He's got himself an ace machine, but it just doesn't do very much.
If you were told you could have a 5-second stun ability, people are like, that's pretty broken. The right Weaver's Wall is an insanely long stun duration, Atlas, because you're just out of range of doing any damage.
Yeah, and he couldn't actually use his Valkyrie to get in because otherwise he would just die. So everyone would focus him, and that's another example of the Weaver's Wall being used so offensively, securing another kill.
Sion not doing a lot of winning this week, even though the pick holds some merit.
A lot of yelling.
He is, you know, he's still being epically Sion, but this was also Kingzone DragonX. A blast from the past, something their fans have been looking for after some shaky games. It wasn't a great series by either team over the course of the first 2, but a great game 3 from Kingzone DragonX.
Yeah, it's like they just put their serious shoes on. It all came down to it. Kingzone were able to get the work done. Here, just the final push looked pretty good. Prey was basically unkillable. Another double seismic shove, because why not?
We don't even talk about them anymore. They're that good.
Yeah.
So reliable on that ability in both games. So congratulations, BD.
Yeah. Gonna join his fellow solo laner in the MVP interview. So let's throw it over to Joel to get some translation.
Thank you very much, guys. This is Joel with your last interview translation of the day. Afreeca Freecs seemed like they were making a statement in Game 1, but it was Kingzone in the end, picking up a 2-1 victory. And here are the main characters who led them to this victory. We're going to have an award with the MVPs of this series. I have a word with Khan and also BDD. Last game was a defeat for you guys, and we thought that, you know, that might have carried on against such a strong opponent. Khan, how do you feel about the win today? And losing against BBQ, we knew that Afreeca losing against this team was something that we really had to avoid at all costs, and definitely kept a critical mind of ourselves to make sure we didn't lose to them. BDD, getting a win, how do you feel? Did keep a similar mind with what Khan was saying. But I think getting a win is definitely a relief for our entire team. And Khan, you did show some condition issues in the BDQ series. And how do you feel right now? Do you feel a lot better? I think what happened there last year was that I had a hard time breathing after that game, and I told my teammates after I got my treatment that not to worry about me anymore, and I was gonna be fine for later on. This was the first time I experienced that from my teammate, and just going into game 2 wasn't an easy task for all of us. And but you know, the only thing that matters right now is that he's back to full health, and I'm very happy for that. Of course, we're talking about conditions now. Khan, you seem to be at full force for today's series. And we did see a wonderful performance out of you in the top lane. The first set, it seemed like it could have went your way, but you guys did suffer a counter attack from your opponents. But set 2, how did you feel about that game? I think game 1 was definitely a big possibility for us to get the win on that one, and you know, we're gonna look at the VODs once we return to the team house to see what went wrong in game 1. And try to figure out what we did wrong and try to do better next time. But I think we're going to be feeling pretty positive for the fact that the series went well for us. And really, with the 2 top laners from both sides being so strong, the pick ban phase was a really interesting thing to look at. You know, really, you guys always talk about me having to carry champions, but I like being the typical GP and letting my team do all the carrying. And of course, putting the carry champions on my shoulders put a lot of pressure that, you know, sometimes I just don't know how to endure. But you know, but I'm GP and I just put the ultimate down and my teammates do all the work, so that's the less pressure on my shoulders. And we saw you catching out the Gnar, which was a spectacle in itself. Is that supposed to happen, you know, from what we saw out of that play? You know, we had the Shen ult available, and it definitely could have been a loss and could have been looked really, really silly on my part, but it's something that I had to go for, and I wanted to take the risk on it. And I really, you talk about the silly plays and the stupid plays being that one bit of a difference, and luckily I got the better part of that on that one. And BDD, as a teammate, what do you think about that play? I mean, right now, you talk about GP getting picked off at a blind bush, and it happens often, but I'm glad he pulled that off on that one. And we saw you waiting at one instance, putting the triangular barrels and just waiting for an opponent to come in. Yeah, I was hoping that, you know, one of the opponent came in and took the bait on that one. And the picks and bans were really aggressive on both sides, and it's just about, you know, Zoe, Azir, and all these aggressive picks that are going back and forth, really putting statements on each pick. You know, I really didn't mind what I picked, but the coach suddenly urged me to play the Talia, and suddenly I picked it, and Jace was available, and Jace got the pick for Khan, and it became a happy ending from there. Did you not suggest the Jace for yourself? You know, whatever champion I was given with, I was gonna do my part and I was gonna fulfill my role. And going into the game, and Talia was all about the roaming, and it was a little bit difficult for you guys in the early game. Yeah, I mean, right now it was tough. I was having a hard time breathing at some of the early games, so. But I definitely kept a positive mindset with my teammate, never giving up trust, never giving up faith in my teammates to do a good job. And you know, Khan is the guy that never blames his teammates. We all know that. But with Sion being picked as the opponent, we know that it can always be a stressful lane to deal with. You said that it was your fault earlier. Yeah, of course. You know, I can never blame my teammates. I have to blame myself all the time. You know, if I do bad, it's my bad, and nobody else is bad for it. And if I lost my lane, it's totally my fault and nobody else's fault. And that's what it really extends to with the Talia that really saved the top lane. I guess so, yeah. We thought that the Talia did serve a part. In the way that, you know, just simply put, you know, a lot of people use the ultimate just for objectives, but you used it for very unique ways. I think it's good to be, you know, decisive with the ultimate. You know, when you see a possibility of a play happening for you, you just use it right away without being indecisive. And when you see the angle coming, just use it. And that's kind of the best tip I can have for other players wanting to use the Talia. We actually think a lot of the pro players will agree that the competition is a little tough one to pull off. You know, when he got to Talia and he saw the Corki as a counter matchup, he told everyone in our team that he can carry, so we took his word for it. You know, Corki's not very strong in lane, but Talia can push him out of lane, so I had the confidence going into the after the ban pick phase. And of course, you guys might have gone into a loss streak if you weren't careful, but you guys are here picking it back up with another win in the series state. But anything you'd like to say, Khan, to the fans? You don't have to worry about my health anymore. But I think managing your health is what it takes to be a professional, and I am a real professional. With the health and also my gameplay, I'll try to make sure that I stay professional and maintain both at the highest level. Of course, we did lose out the last series and got a win today. And it's great that we won, but we want to continue on this win against any other teams that we face. And that is the end of the interview with Kingzone, with BDD and Khan. Most notably, Khan feeling a lot better than his condition last time around, so feels good on that one, and gonna send it back to you guys.
Thank you very much, Joel. Great to hear Khan with his swagger back, Papa Smithy, making sure that he lets us all know that he's going to be the professional that we know him.
Yeah, there was a real concern he wouldn't play today after being rushed off after their games a couple of days ago. So good news abound for Kingzone DragonX. They dropped game one where they were in control for 85% or more of that 35 minutes against Afreeca Freecs, but plain sailing otherwise for Kingzone. That does cement them at 8-2. No one can catch them. KT Rolster will be looking to join them at 8-2 at +10 if they win 2-0. So game score means that Kingzone are guaranteed first place come the end of the week. But KT Rolster, and it feels like those are the two teams people tip to be 1-2. Both of them looking strong. KT playing tomorrow at the Gangnam Stadium.
Yeah, and if Jin Air are able to take down KT Rolster, they could actually tie themselves with SK Telecom and the Rocks Tigers when it comes to match score, and create a clear 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here in the LCK. Well, 5 not clear, but you know, at least the top 5 are known.
So tomorrow at Gangnam Stadium, Jin Air versus KT, MVP versus BBQ, And looking at next week, Kingzone will have to face Kongnu Monster and MVP, so easier opposition based on the standings for them. SKT versus Afreeca on Thursday, looking like a real barn burner of a game. That'll be a fun one. First OGN day will be Wednesday, Jin Air versus BBQ, and Kingzone versus MVP.
Jin Air versus BBQ is actually an exciting matchup as well now. I feel like with BBQ on the rise and Jin Air also able to come off a 2-0 against the Afreeca Freecs. Middle of the table LCK is feeling like that's where it's heating up.
There's just so little at the bottom and the top. There's so much in the middle. 6 or 7 teams, depending on the week, who are contending for a top 5 to join the big 3. Afreeca versus SKT could be
all of a sudden got extremely high.
Somehow 0-2 Afreeca have to play 4-0 in a row SK Telecom. If SKT win that, then the SKT fans will deserve to shout at the top of their lungs that they're back. KT vs Kongnu Monster. That's going to be tricky.
We've actually got a lot of KT roster in a row as well. Sunday, Tuesday, and Thursday. So just one-day breaks, and then more KT roster for everyone at home who really wants to see that. Rocks versus BBQ Olivers, that rematch all of a sudden getting more exciting as well.
Depending on how BBQ does tomorrow, could be some interesting games for BBQ.
So many ifs and buts, Papa Smithy.
Got 4 weeks of the regular season left. Lots of things to embrace. 8 best of 3s left for everyone barring the 4 teams playing tomorrow. So action-packed, fun day today. Still learning patch 8.3, still anticipating patch 8.4. I'm guessing 2 weeks away, so we're not going to have the new AP items just yet, but a lot of change coming. And it's also at the final hurdle, 3 weeks or so on a new patch. You might be right up the top and then be a bit slow, be a bit behind the meta, and suddenly the playoffs fall out of your grasp.
Yeah, exactly right. And we'll see who's going to be the one potentially dropping that ball, who's going to be able to make that late surge towards the top of the table, because there is still just a few games separating pretty much the top 7 teams here in the LCK. It's going to be a little bit harder for Jin Air, Rocks, and SKT to really catch back up to that top spot, but there still is playoff contention for a whole lot of these teams. The LCK well and truly wide open, and we got our money's worth today as well with a relatively late finish. But man, Kingzone able to fire back in the last game really puts a sense of normalcy back on the LCK.
Normalcy on the madness, but only for a moment, Atlas.
Just a moment. So good night, everyone, and we'll see you at the Gangnam Stadium tomorrow for more LCK.